Hello, Namaskar. Welcome to Moksha Media. You are with Moksha Hiramat. Today, I would like to tell you something about PuruShaarthas. There are four types of PuruShaarthas. They are Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. And these PuruShaarthas are formed in a different environment in the background of Panchabhutas. You know Panchabhutas. They are called five elements. They are Prithvi, they are earth, water, air, and fire, and space. In the background of these Panchabhutas, these five elements, usually the Purushartha concept is formed. But anyhow, one thing is very clear. These Purusharthas are for the progress and development of humanity in general. These Purusharthas have their own targets and goals. The first one, Dharma. Sometimes Dharma is used as equivalent to religion, an Anglican word in the background of European context. But some scholars think that Dharma is more than religion. Dharma is not an equivalent to religion because Dharma is more than religion. That is why we cannot equate Dharma with religion. But for our understanding, we have to take it for temporarily. But here I use virtues in the place of religion. Here I have confined the meaning of Dharma to the virtues. These virtues for the development of human beings. They should enhance the progress and the progeny of these human beings. And the norms and customs we have for the virtues should not hurt the others. Without hurting the heart of others or without hurting the interest of others, one can develop on one's own. A society can develop by forming some virtues to the members of that society. So here, these virtues should be followed in order to enhance the development of the society. Then comes Artha. Artha means here material well-being. One should have some materials for his physical development and for his mental enhancement. And one should acquire these things. But when one acquires these things, it should not hurt the others. It should not earn at the cost of others. It should not earn at the sweat of others. It should sweat on one's own and it should earn a livelihood without hurting the others. So, in a proper way, the material beingness should be achieved because in order to be civilized, this material well-beings is very important in one way or another way. Material well-being means not the fashionable life. It is at least one should feed his stomach. So, in order to earn whatever is necessary, whatever is for civilized society, one should earn those things or one should acquire those things without hurting the others and without at the cost of others. Then comes kama. Kama is equivalent to lust. Sometimes it is used as a desire. But anyhow, that lust is also important in PuruShaarthas because one should have the aspiration for the procreation and recreation and continuation of one's generation. And he should see the continuation of one's generation. In order to continuation of one's generation, automatically one has to maintain the relationship, but that relationship should be proper. It should not hurt the heart of others. And of course, here the relationship means so many things. Here, in order to satiate one's lust, automatically a kind of arrangement is made in a society. Different societies have different customs and traditions, different type of satiations to fulfill their lust. But one thing is common, that each generation or each society tries to continue its own generation for the future. So in order to continuation of this future generation, one should have its creations, and this creation leads to recreation. So in order to create something, one should have the relationship with different sexes. And of course, when the form of sex is formed, automatically it should not hurt the others. Society frames some norms and customs in order to have a healthy and wealthy relationship between man and woman. So, without hurting those customs and norms in the given society or in the given environment or in the background of these panchabhutas, that is 5 elements, one should lead the life of that lust. One should satiate that lust. One should satiate that kama. Otherwise, it kills human beings. Otherwise, it destroys the human beings. So, that strong desire should be satiated in a proper way. Especially, it should be satiated in the background of the continuation of one's generation. So, that is why in the background of this, that strong desire becomes very important. Of course, desire gives a lot of meaning, but here it is better to use the word strong desire in order to have the generation of one's own. Then comes moksha. Moksha means here emancipation. That is, emancipate from the problems and pains of the society, problems and pains of the life, problems and pains of these panchabhutas. So, in order to emancipate oneself from these things, one should meditate or one should make a penance. That is, japa and tapa are very important. But of course, one thing is common, that in order to have a moksha, one should lead the life of one's own in silence. Here, in order to release one's from the pains and problems of the world or earthly things, one should maintain the silence, and that silence should lead to finance, that silence should lead to tapasya. It is a kind of tapasya. Of course, here, in order to have a moksha, one should realize one's own life. If one realizes one's own life, automatically he goes towards moksha, and after some time one could get moksha. Then the life circle is completed. That is, getting moksha from the cycle of birth and rebirth. Of course, different notions are there in different virtues and etc. etc. But one thing is accepted here, that in order to have a moksha, one should realize oneself. So if one realizes properly, he could go near to moksha, or one day he could get moksha. That is what these PuruShaarthas are formed and framed in the background of ashrama style of life in Indian context. So, PuruShaarthas are generally framed in different environments, in different panchabhutas, in its own way, on the condition that it should continue its own generation. So in Indian context, we say these PuruShaarthas, these are the virtues, that is the virtues, arthas, kamas and moksha. So this ashrama style of life, in the background of ashrama style of life, these virtues are formed and framed in Indian context. You know the ashrama life, that is brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha and sannyasa. Brahmacharya leads to virtueness and acquiring knowledge. Grihastha leads to satiation of the lust. Vanaprastha leads to accumulation of wealth, that is the material well-being, properly, not at the cost of others, but on its own. And then moksha, that is sannyasa, is a kind of a moksha. That is, in order to get moksha, sannyasa is used. The system of sannyasa is used. In the background of this, we have to see these PuruShaarthas, and then only we can define them properly, then only we can realize them properly. And subscribe and share, and see you in the next episode. Thank you. Namaskar.